RoofMan is the new film from writer-director Derek Cianfrance, who also wrote and directed 2010's Blue Valentine, one of the most depressing films I saw that year, if not that decade. The film is based on the incredible true story of Jeffrey Manchester, played by Channing Tatum, known as the RoofMan, for breaking into 45 different McDonald's all across the country from the roof and staying inside the ceiling walls until the staff shows up in the morning, where he then robs the store. He then puts all the employees in the walk-in freezer and calls the authorities after he's done so the employees don't freeze to death. He robs all these McDonald's to build a better life for his daughter and sons, and I guess ex-wife, but ends up getting caught and sent to prison for 45 years. After a few years in prison, he ends up escaping and decides that instead of running, he'll hole up in a Toys R Us until the heat dies down, so that his friend Steve, played by Lakeith Stanfield, can safely get him out of the country with a new identity. While living in the Toys R Us, he ends up meeting one of the employees, Lee Wainscott, at her local church when he brings donations to the church drive. He then strikes up a relationship with her and her two daughters, all while living still in the Toys R Us at night that she works for. He builds a relationship with Lee and her family and her church community, all while on the run with the inevitable weight of being caught and losing everything once again, causing pain to everyone he cares about. The film, first off, is really entertaining and it has a lot of heart. It does take a lot of liberties with the true events of this story, but it also gets a lot of it right. Lee, for one, wasn't employed at Toys R Us, and I don't think that the Steve character even existed. And the story of why he's robbing these McDonald's may be a little exaggerated, but it does give the film a little bit more heart. Jeffrey has these heartbreaking scenes with his daughter, played by Elisa Marie Pearson, that are pretty hard to watch and gives you a real sense of why he's doing what he's doing. You feel really sorry for the guy and you want to see him get away with what he's doing so he can make a better life for his daughter. And they choose the cutest, most endearing little girl to pull off these scenes, and Alyssa Pearson. I actually had a few seconds of sort of tearing up a little in this scene. This storyline again brings so much heart to the film, which is why that when Jeffrey meets the love interest and her two daughters in the film, Becky's kind of shoved out of the story completely until a small reference at the end of the film, giving that whole story a lack of meaning. Channing Tatum hiding inside a Toys R Us building at night is sort of the hook of this film that really does pay off. It's the reason that I went to see Career Opportunities back in '91 with Jennifer Connelly locked inside a Target, and 2000's Where the Heart Is with Natalie Portman living inside a Walmart, also based on a true story. Who hasn't fantasized about being locked up in a mall or toy store at night as a kid? Or for me, it'd be a Target. And it works here. It's fun seeing Tatum live in this Toys R Us, living off baby food and M&Ms, watching the employees all day long on these baby monitors that he's placed all over the store. The film is shot on 35mm film, which gives a very authentic look of the 90s to 2000s type of films, which I really appreciated and loved. When movies today are shot on actual film, they look so much richer to me. It's always a nice touch and a great look for this type of film. Tatum was a great choice for Jeffrey with his charm and wit and likability. He brings the personality traits described by law enforcement and the real community church to life. Apparently, Jeffrey Manchester, the real guy, was incredibly nice when it came to his robberies, even giving one guy his coat when he locked him in the walk-in freezer. There's countless accounts of real victims talking about how nice and how kind he was during the robberies. Tatum brings a lot of heart and charm to the role, and I found myself rooting for the guy during most of the film. You want everything to end up being okay for this character, even though you're waiting for that inevitable downfall. The film was a little confusing due to the fact that the trailer gives off more of a comedy vibe to the film, and yes, there are some funny scenes to the movie, but this film really comes off as more of a heartfelt drama. It's not really a laugh-out-loud film for the most part, except maybe when the Toys R Us jerk manager, Mitch, played by Peter Dinklage, gets blasted in the face with dye packs.
If I do that, it'll blow up. Now if you do it quick. Oops.
Even in that scene, it's a little too tense in the robbery and the risk to be truly something taken as a comedy. The film walks this odd line between comedy and drama that it gets confusing at times how you're supposed to feel and what you should laugh at. Kirsten Dunst, who plays Lee, was sweet and convincing as Tatum's love interest and single mom of two daughters who's struggling to provide for both and struggling to connect with the oldest. She does lay on a southern accent pretty thick at times. The cinematography has a few nice looking shots, like a shot of Jeffrey under the truck he escapes in, from which I thought was simple but very effective. But the shots in the film were all pretty basic shots, doesn't break any rules really, and for this film I think that works, and it's beautifully shot, and again the 35mm film looks incredible. I really love the set design in this film, especially when it came to the Toys R Us store. The look and the feel of the store felt very authentic as the production recreated Toys R Us with all the real toys from the 1990s and 2000 periods. With toys like Tickle Me Elmo and Heelys, the store they chose was an actual closed-down Toys R Us that they shot at on location, giving the film a look that feels very real and unpolished. One of the things that I really appreciate about this film, and this may sound a little crazy, but I appreciated the real tears. When someone gets upset and cries, you see real tears, especially in Kirsten Dunst's character, where sometimes it's all-out running mascara tears, which I loved. I really hate when films are so lazy that they have characters bawling their eyes out on screen, but there aren't any real tears. That is one of the biggest pet peeves of mine in film. When there aren't any real tears streaming down their face in a dramatic scene, I just can't believe the scene or the pain. And in this film, I really did feel the pain from Tatum and Dunst, and it was really effective. Lakeith Stanfield as Jeffrey's friend Steve seems to be thrown in the film with not much really to do, but to establish a way out for Jeffrey, and something that keeps him waiting to establish the next step in his escape. I do have to say, Peter Dinklage, he plays jerks so incredibly well in films and shows like Tyrion Lannister in Game of Thrones and even in Elf, and he also plays endearing characters like in The Toxic Avenger and The Station Agent or Wicked.
You like peanut M&Ms, right?
'Cause we're missing a lot. You have any idea why?
I just thought, they gotta be hiding somewhere.
He does it in this complete contrast beautifully. He's also incredibly funny, and I love seeing him in everything that he does. Same with Juno Temple as Steve's girlfriend. Great actress, love her in Ted Lasso, but she has nothing to do here. Tony Revolori is in this film. You know him as Flash from the Spider-Man franchise, and he plays the store manager at the McDonald's that Jeffrey robs in the beginning of the film. And his scene is actually pretty great, but it was strange to see this and him, I guess not huge actor, but somewhat well-known actor in this small part. And I actually just realized that there are a lot of Spider-Man connections in this film. Tatum has Spider-Man bed sheets in his hiding place in Toys R Us. Kirsten Dunst obviously was Mary Jane in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, and now you have Flash from the newest Spider-Man movie franchise. And in the true events, the real Jeffrey watched Spider-Man 2 over and over again in his hiding place on DVD. And I wonder if all that was on purpose in the film or just a coincidence. RoofMan is a fun and at times heartbreaking film that confuses the emotions. It has some touching, sweet moments in the beginning that the film seems to forget about in the second act. It does have more heartfelt scenes with Dunst and Tatum, and has some charming, funny scenes that are really, really enjoyable. The dialogue is a little weak in the writing, but the actors really pull it off. The story is very noticeable when it comes to the added content that was put in the movie to make the story more interesting or to move the story in a certain direction. But in the end, it is a very fun movie. Not a film that I'm dying to see again, but if it was on cable, I'd probably stop and watch bits and pieces of it. I'm giving RoofMan 3 stars out of 5 for the tears, the fun aspects of the film, and some really great heartfelt scenes. It is rated R for language, some Channing Tatum butt shots, and a really funny nude chase scene in the Toys R Us.
What the? Oh my God!
So let me know your thoughts on RoofMan in the comments. Have you heard of the true events of the story? Let me know in the comments what this film got right or wrong about the real RoofMan. And as always, thank you for liking and subscribing to the channel. It means so much that you'd watch this channel out of thousands. And remember, don't wait till it streams. Let's go to the theater and let's see it together.
Who do you want to be, Jeff?